Okay, good morning. This is the second in our series of teachings from Lama Losang on the Golden Eight-Petaled Lotus, the topic of meditation and healing. And we're very, very fortunate to have Lama Losang with us because as he is a fully ordained monk or Gelong in the Karma Kagyu tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, he completed his 3-year retreat to become a Lama under the guidance of the renowned Kagyu master Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche. He received his Doctor of Philosophy degree in psychology from the University of Florida. He continued his studies at the College of Traditional Chinese Acupuncture in Oxford, England, where he completed 2 postgraduate degrees. He studied healing arts, meditation, martial arts, Tai Chi, acupuncture, herbal medicine, and Qigong in the US, England, China, Tibet, India, and Japan. He is a licensed acupuncturist in Florida and serves as the resident teacher for the Gainesville Karma Thegsum Choling Center in Gainesville, Florida. We're incredibly honored to have Lama Losang with us. And I invite all of you to hold in your heart the refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and to dedicate this session toward the benefit of all sentient beings. So I'm going to turn this over to Lama Losang. I believe Lama Losang, I believe the program is set for 2 hours. And so we can take a break about halfway through for about 10 minutes, and then people will be able to get up, walk around, and then return for the second half of the program.
Very good.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us this morning. Our schedules are usually pretty hectic, and to make time for such a thing is not always so easy. So I appreciate your motivation in getting up and tuning in. So I hope it's of some value to you. We're continuing our talk. We're picking up where we left off last time. The Eight-Petaled Lotus of Asian medicine is the classic way of teaching Asian medicine. And it begins with meditation, which we covered last time, or self-cultivation. And today we're going to cover Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, basically movement, exercise, which is the fundamental driver for our good health. And the system of medicine, which is based on channels, meridians, are affected by movement, and specifically the Qigong and Tai Chi are designed to move the Qi in the blood in a particular kind of way to enhance the organ function, to create warmth in our body, our digestive system, and to prevent illness and to cultivate health and well-being. So that is the second one. There's meditation, which is first. We first have to tame the mind. That is number one. And it has been over thousands of years of training of traditional Asian physicians. And we're going to go into that in more detail. But Qigong, we're going to do some Qigong exercises. It would be impossible in this period of time to really teach Tai Chi. Some of you are yogis and yoginis, so you already know some ways of cultivating this aspect of physical health through the asanas or yoga postures. So there's, even in the yoga tradition, you know, there's 8 limbs, just like there's 8 petals of our system. And there's bhakti yoga or karma yoga or raja yoga, which is is meditation. It's the kingly yoga. Raja is king. It's the kingly yoga of meditation, which supersedes everything. And again, it starts with training the mind. So that is critical to our health as well as the health of all sentient beings, certainly all human beings, we will say. So Qigong, Tai Chi is a type of Qigong, but we're going to do a little bit of movement. And this is going to be for meditators. This is Qigong for meditators, because you can do it from a sitting posture. So we're going to be doing some exercises just from your cushion or from your chair. This is something that I do in the morning when I sit and in the evening. I do certain movements to enhance the chi and blood and get more circulation to my brain and create the circumstances or the conditions for good health. So we begin with meditation, as we covered last time. We're not going to go into detail there. You are well aware of Tibetan medicine, Tibetan meditation, I should say, from our tradition, our lineage, the Mahamudra lineage. And you come from, hopefully, have centers where you're located and have dedicated yourself to the cultivation, that self-cultivation of mind training. Then Qigong, as I just mentioned, and thirdly, in this today, we're going to try to cover some diet and nutrition. There is so much different and controversial aspects of diet and nutrition. Every day there's some new kind of a diet that's out there, the newest and greatest and best. But we're going to cover it from a slightly different angle. So those are the first three: meditation, Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, the movement, and then diet, nutrition. So it goes in a certain chronological order based on effectiveness or importance. You know, the last one being acupuncture or cupping, moxa, those kinds of things, when you have to command the energy dramatically in order to get the desired result. That is after a person has neglected themselves to a certain degree, and it's like major surgery in Asian medicine to use acupuncture and the corresponding methods that are used. So if we can begin by taming the mind through meditation, we can attain a certain level of wellness. And to complement that with Qigong and diet and nutrition. Then the fourth that we'll cover, hopefully maybe at some later date, we'll continue this if you so choose, is massage, acupressure, tuina, shiatsu. These are manipulative methods of moving the qi in the blood through direct application of acupressure, thumb pressure, or massage, or those kinds of things to enhance health. The fifth is the I Ching or Mo. These are cosmology or divination, ways of relating to our cosmos. And this is something that is taught in as part of physicians' training. The sixth is Feng Shui. Also astrology can be in this, but Feng Shui, Geomancy. So our homes where we live, the part of the country that we live in, whether it's a desert or mountain, with lakes or streams, all this has an impact on our health. We don't want it too damp, we don't want it too dry, we don't want it too hot, we don't want it too cold. All these things are aspects of Feng Shui and contribute to our well-being. So I will often ask a patient to give me the dimensions or the outline or of their house, for example, or their living situation. I'll ask questions about dampness or the care and feeding of our environment. So that's part of Feng Shui. And the seventh is herbal medicine. So if we can, again, this is the treatment becomes stronger and stronger as we neglect ourselves and need stronger and stronger methods to bring it back to equilibrium, to homeostasis. So herbal medicine is the seventh, and acupuncture, cupping, moxibustion is the eighth, or the last of the golden eight-petaled lotus. So to begin with our part two with Tai Chi and Qigong, I want to state that there's a lineage that I have the good fortune of being part of, certainly in our Buddhist tradition, our Kamakaju lineage, our Mahamudra lineage. We have the good fortune of having the blessing of our teachers, and from teacher to student, as you know, in an unbroken line. we have had the teachings passed down to us. We call that lineage. These other systems also have lineage. And this is the Yang family lineage that I'm going to be talking about as far as Tai Chi goes. But it all really comes again from India. And we can trace our lineage back to the Buddha, even in these martial arts. So Tai Chi is a very popular type of Qigong exercise in China. And it is a method of improving our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health. And like meditation and Asian medicine, has its roots in Buddhism. There is a common link for these 8 disciplines that we are studying. They come from the same rich soil of ancient Asian wisdom. They are all based on the achievement of the highest human accomplishment, Buddhahood. And if you'll time travel with me a little bit, we're going to go back in time more than 2,500 years. At this time, Prince Siddhartha was born in India, and he relinquished his kingdom, fortune, family to benefit beings and to make the journey to find truth and ultimate freedom, from suffering. He said he was here for one reason and one reason only, and that was to end our suffering, end our ignorance, our delusions. So he went through many hardships and difficulties on his path to enlightenment. He did achieve his goal under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, those, I guess, close to 2,600 years ago now, Bodh Gaya, India, and became known as the Buddha. In order to free all beings from suffering, he vowed to teach and share his realization with all beings. So to do this, he established Buddhist communities of ordained monks and lay people to study and practice together. And the followers of the Buddha spread the teachings called Buddha Dharma throughout the world. One such teacher, Padmasambhava, the Guru Rinpoche, crossed the treacherous Himalayan mountains and brought Buddhism to Tibet in 747. He was invited by King Tristan Detsen and founded the oldest Nyingma tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. But another, in the 6th century, before Guru Rinpoche came to Tibet, another teacher also crossed the Himalayas to spread the Buddha Dharma in China. His name was Bodhidharma. And the story of Bodhidharma is more than we can cover in this discussion, but he too was a prince, and after his father's death, he became a student of Prajnadhara, and Bodhidharma served his master for 40 years, and after Prajnadhara's passing, he followed his teacher's wishes and traveled from India and spread the Dharma in China. When he arrived in China around 527, the Common Era, he became known as Ta Mo, and he became the first Chinese Chan or Zen patriarch and established his monastery at the Shaolin Temple in northern China. And some of you may have heard of Shaolin Temple. But as his popularity and reputation as a teacher and practitioner grew, so did his monastery and the number of his monks. So he noticed that many of his monks were in poor health and unable to perform their monastic duties. In addition, at that time, there were hordes of marauding bandits that were attacking and pillaging surrounding monasteries and villages. This had become a serious threat to the Shaolin Temple. So the monks had not been trained to protect themselves and the monastery from attack. Because of this threat to their survival, Bodhidharma began training his monks in ways to strengthen their bodies and to protect themselves and the monastery and the Buddha Dharma. This was the beginning of the famous Shaolin style martial arts and became part of the monks' daily routine. First and foremost, they were monks and studying and practicing the teachings of the Buddha. Having trained in meditation, the monks continued to cultivate mental strength and clarity with meditation. And their bodies were made stronger by the martial arts Qigong, breathing exercises and stretching and for flexibility and movement. So Bodhidharma brought a whole new level of training of body and mind together for both spiritual and physical advancement on the path to enlightenment. And in so doing, revolutionized both monastic training and martial arts training in China. So although Tai Chi is an excellent martial art, it can also be used as a gentle form of exercise. You know, I currently still teach the Tai Chi, and it can be practiced at one's own level of fitness. It is suitable for people of all ages and abilities, and an excellent way to maintain good health and relaxation. And these principles can be applied, you know, to our everyday life. For example, just staying balanced. You know, fear of falling as we grow older is a risk. It's a fear and a risk if we fall and break a hip or break a bone. So cultivating these practices helps to ground us, stabilize us, and gives us confidence in our capacity to walk and move and through balance. It brings all the aspects of meditation, healing, yoga, self-defense, movement, stress management, and all of the concepts that we're going to continue to study of yin yang and full and empty and hard and soft and heaven and earth. These are yin yang philosophies that one uses to achieve good health and bring harmony and balance through movement. Any questions about anything so far? Anyone want to just comment or ask a question about a little bit about that before I go into a little bit of the Tai Chi history and my tradition?
You can unmute yourselves to ask questions. If you have trouble unmuting yourselves, let me know by putting something in the chat.
Okay, well, you can still use the chat if there's a question. But a little bit about lineage. You know, we were talking about lineage and the importance of lineage, certainly in our Buddhist tradition, but also in the lineage of Tai Chi. You know, it actually began about 1,200 years ago in its beginning with Tai Chi. It was primarily studied and practiced as an effective form of Chinese martial arts. But as I mentioned, Buddhist and Taoist monks began practicing in monasteries such as the Shaolin Temple. And it has its, the roots of traditional Chinese medicine is part of that to balance the body's energy and the flow of qi, the vital life force in the body. So the type of, the style of Tai Chi that I practice, it can be traced back to the Chen family, this Tai Chi, Yang style Tai Chi, and this family lineage, of which Professor Cheng Man-Ching was one of the exceptional practitioners in this family lineage who exhibited mastery of this style. And was one of the most foremost students of Yang Chen Fu, who was the was the head of that particular family. And Cheng Man-Ching refined the style that we now call the short Yang style of 37 postures. But to give you a little background into Professor Cheng Man-Ching, he was truly a Renaissance man. Let's see. He was known as a master of the five excellences. And the five excellences are calligraphy, painting, poetry, Tai Chi, and medicine. And there's a book that you may not be able to see that, but I can tell you, Cheng Man-Ching, Master of the Five Excellences by Mark Hennessy, is a wonderful text about his life And some of his writings, his poetry, his calligraphy, paintings are just beautiful. And also some Qigong exercises in there as well. So Cheng Man Ching, CHENGMANCHING. Cheng Man Ching, Master of the Five Excellences. And my teacher was a student of his, Patrick Watson. So again, he was a master of medicine as well as Tai Chi, and he would always tell his patients to do more Tai Chi. In the classics, it says that the ancients said that the best doctor cured those who are not yet ill. And Tai Chi is the finest medicine of the best doctor. So we try to prevent disease. And this description of Tai Chi also means cultivating the highest aspiration and excellent conduct in his students. In a poem that he had on the front of his dojo, or the place where he taught his students, he wrote a poem which hung on the front door of his Tai Chi studio for all to read. And I'm just going to read that to you. It's called The Hall of Happiness. And I think you'll see the relationship of his point of view and our Buddhist way of thinking. So, Hall of Happiness. May the joy that is everlasting gather in this hall, not the joy of a sumptuous feast, which slips away even as we leave the table, nor that which music brings, which is only limited to duration. Beauty and a pretty face are like flowers. They bloom for a while and then die. Even our youth swiftly slips away and is gone. No enduring happiness is not in these. We may as well forget them, for the joy I speak of is worlds away from these. It is the joy of continuous growth, of helping to develop in ourselves and in others the talents and abilities with which we were born, gifts that lie within each of us. It is to revive the exhausted and to rejuvenate that which is in decline, so that we are enabled to dispel sickness and suffering. The true affection and happy interaction abide in this hall. Let us here correct our past mistakes and lose preoccupation with self. With the constancy of the planets on their courses, or the dragon in his cloud-wrapped path, let us enter the land of health and ever after walk within its bounds. Let us fortify ourselves against weakness and learn to be self-reliant without a moment's lapse. Then our resolution will become the very air we breathe, the world we live in. Then we will be happy as fish in crystal waters. This is the joy which lasts, that we can carry with us to the end of our days. And tell me, if you can, what greater happiness can life bestow? Written by Cheng Man Ching in New York City in 1973. So that is really, when we think of martial arts or we think of Tai Chi, often we think of its martial application as like boxing, but it is much more than that. It is a method of self-cultivation as well. And my teacher, Patrick Watson, founded the School of Tai Chi Chuan, began studying with Professor Cheng Man Ching, and continued to teach until his death in 1975. So the Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga is yoking the body and the mind. That's what yoga means, to yoke our body, our mind, and to bring that quality of mindfulness to our movement. Through relaxation, one is able to discover the deeper sense of our own rhythm and balance and coordination. Relaxation and tranquility help to tame our monkey mind and is an important ingredient for meditation. So Tai Chi is like a moving meditation. It can be done like that to cultivate those qualities and aid in problems that we may have, like insomnia, anxiety, tension. And with regular practice, it does enhance circulation, respiratory function, and alleviates certain symptoms like high blood pressure caused by stress and nervousness. So when I say Tai Chi, it also means yoga. It also means Qigong. But the qualities of teaching is a little different. To find a good teacher is important, but that is the second of the eightfold or eight-petaled lotus, is to cultivate the qualities that are found within these systems of practice, such as Tai Chi, Qigong, and yoga. And it will enhance whatever you do. Some of you may know I was a tennis player. I was ranked in the state of Florida for a long time. And I asked Patrick about Tai Chi and tennis. And his answer was brief and to the point. He said, Tai Chi will help your tennis. Tennis will not help your Tai Chi. But I didn't stop playing tennis, nor did I stop playing Tai Chi. And I've had the good fortune of being in good health as far as the tennis goes, which I still play, not having problems with knees and elbows and various other things, because the joints are limber and malleable and the tendons are loose. And so anytime there's tension, that reduces the flow of qi and blood. And we need that to nourish the tissues. So it is a way to prevent disease and enhance and strengthen the muscles and joints, leading to increased agility and flexibility. As the old adage goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And it's certainly true in this case, in terms of the benefits of Tai Chi on the connective tissue and keeping the joints in good shape and pain-free. Some of you also may know that in 2018, I suffered a major stroke and was paralyzed in my entire right side. And my stroke happened when a clot obstructed the blood flow to the part of my brain associated with movement in my extremities, both my right hand and my right leg, unable to move a finger or a toe. Lama Kathy is aware of that. She helped me through that period. We were both in New York at Munlam when that happened, and my stroke happened right in front of Karmapa and all of our teachers and our wonderful lineage teachers that were there. So I had a lot of blessing. I think if I was to have a stroke, there couldn't be a better condition for that to happen. But my progress on that really astounded both the physicians and therapists that I work with, probably because of the blessings of our teachers. But I think that Tai Chi also played a role in that, in my recovery, because I continued to do Tai Chi and practice Tai Chi and was able to recover really in a period of weeks, to go from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane and back to the tennis court again. It's really truly amazing. So my doctors and therapists said they don't see progress like that very often. So I think it's a statement to Tai Chi as well as the blessings of our teachers. But I offer that to you as for contemplation. It is an effective way to stay healthy and avoid illness. And the slow, simple movements are easy for older people with physical frailties, and can also be challenging depending upon how you do it, even for the fittest of people. Again, any questions? Do we have anything?
Yes, we have a question. Justin is asking about the 37 postures of this style of Tai Chi. The number 37 is interesting. He wonders if it correlates to the 37 practices of bodhisattvas in the text by the Tibetan master Ngüchel Togme.
Well, good question. Not that I know of, but It is related in some way because it does help to clarify our mind. But the number 37, I'm not sure. There were 108 actually postures in the yang form that were reduced to 37. So both of those numbers are somewhat auspicious, as we know. But I don't have a direct answer to say yes, it's because of that.
Other questions for Lama Losang? Here's one. Caitlin asks, there are a lot of different kinds of yoga. Are some more beneficial than others? I do Hatha yoga, but in the book Dharma Paths, Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche says that's more of a Hindu practice, so he's not sure if it is of benefit or not.
Well, if we're looking from a purely physical way, yoking the mind and the body, bringing mindfulness to our movement, as we were saying, there's a lot of in the Vedas that are very similar to Buddhism. So it is what you bring to it, and your motivation, your view, having the right view is important in whatever it is you're practicing, but certainly in Buddhism, that is the quintessential aspect. We can talk about mindfulness, but what is your view? Why are we doing mindfulness? A sniper would be very mindful as he trains his on the target. But that is not the highest use of our mindfulness. To enhance our well-being and to work for the benefit of all beings. Our mindfulness is wanting to purify our obscurations and to realize our Buddha nature. So if that is a vehicle, which it can be, to that end, then it can be useful.
Okay, thank you, Lama. If there are any other questions, you can either put them in chat or unmute your microphone.
So when we look at it, there, as you say, there are many different yogas. There are different traditions, just like in the martial arts. There are many different family traditions and lineages. And so just like Buddhism, there are many lineages, and one is attracted based on certain causes and conditions. So if you find a teacher, and it's always about the teacher, what is their level of understanding and how do they communicate that level of understanding? That is critical to the advancement of the student on the path. So we have to do our due diligence when we look for a teacher. So are there others?
Yeah, I'm just taking a look here and I'm not seeing any other questions right now. Oh, here's one. Tom asks, what can one do if a teacher is not close to where we live?
Yeah, it is good to have hands-on, literally, so a teacher can see how you're doing and make the necessary corrections. But now, particularly in this time of COVID, everything is Zoom or online, and there's lots of online teachings going on. It's which you can benefit from. There's many videos and other kinds of things that you can learn from. So we do the best we can with what we have. But again, it comes to the teacher, and you may have to, just like finding a meditation teacher, you may have to look around until you find the one that is well suited to your particular causes and conditions, and you resonate with.
Here's another question. Michael is commenting that Ohio State University offers teaching on Zoom, and he says that he also teaches Qigong through Ohio State University's group. So I'll tell you what, Michael, what you can do is share in the chat any contact information that you'd like to share if people who are living in Central Ohio would like to join the Ohio State University Qigong and Tai Chi groups.
Yeah, this is Michael Brennan. And Michael, I did receive your emails, and I was going to bring you into this conversation so you could actually put that in the chat. That was my hope we could do that. So that's perfect. Thank you for suggesting that, Lama.
Yes. Okay. Other questions?
So the time goes by so fast. We do want to do some exercises. And as I say, we can do them from a seated posture. So sit comfortably and let's just do some together. Two of these will come from what Michael is saying from the 8 pieces of brocade. There's 8 different postures or exercises. The first is called lifting the sky. And we can, from a seated posture, hands can be in the lap position, and then just inhaling, 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 pushing up, pressing up, as if we were pressing against the clouds, lifting the sky, and then exhaling down. Inhaling, 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 hands turn over, palms face up, pressing upwards, looking upwards, hold, and then exhale down. Again, inhaling, 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 hands turn over, pressing up, right over the head if you can, bringing the shoulders back, and then exhale down. So we can do that 3, 6, 9 times. 3 times if you're in a hurry, just to recharge the body. 6 times is better. 9 times is fine. More than that, and you're just showing off. So I don't think we need to do it more than that, really. So that is a very important one. It does help to harmonize the triple warmer. Also stretching up the internal organs. The other one is called, that we'll do from that series, is called pull, bow, shoot, arrow. So from a prayer position, what we're going to do is inhale, and I'm going to extend my left arm out and pull back with the right as if I was pulling a bow. I'm looking in the direction of my arrow. The fingers of my left hand are in sword fingers. The first 2 fingers are raised up towards the heavens, and then exhaling back to prayer position. Inhaling. Hold a moment and then exhale. Inhale. Pull bow, shoulders back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. You can feel the stretch in your chest. Exhale. So those are, if you were to do that, you would be doing that standing up generally. And you can still do that standing up, but for the purposes of our demonstration, you can also do it as I just did it, in a seated posture. So, I said you can 9 times, 12 times. You can do this depending upon the time that you have. And that is a particularly long exercise to open the chest, enhance the lungs. Is there any question about those 2? Do you feel like you could do those exercises on your own? Was that description enough for you?
I'm seeing some heads nodding.
Good, good.
Anyone have questions about these first two? Here's a question from Tom. Was the pull bow breathe in, and in the pull bow, do you breathe in as you pull back?
Yes, so you were in this position, begin inhaling, inhale, 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 hold, exhale, 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 inhale, 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 inhale. Good full inhalation. Exhale, 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 exhale. Does that answer the question? Excuse me.
Yes, that's good.
All right, there's another very simple one that we can do. That is by extending the arms out, palm up, and then turning the palm, and it's up again, but we've circled the palm. The thumb is towards the back, towards the rear, and you're looking down. So it's like squeezing or a towel, a wet towel, to get all of the water out of it. So from here, we're exhaling, 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 chin to chest, and then inhaling, inhaling, inhaling. Hands turn over and open the chest. Exhale, hands turn over, palm up, and squeeze out all the air. Then inhale, 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 open, and look up as if you're looking at the sun or like a flower opening. And then exhale, 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 exhale completely. Inhale, inhale, inhale. And you should feel the expansiveness of your chest and breathing. It opens up even the top. Your lungs extend to above your collarbone, actually. And rarely do we breathe into that area. So that helps to open the chest. And in so doing, these meridians, the lung meridian begins at the shoulder, runs down the arm, and ends at point number 11 on the thumb. And the large intestine, the associated yang meridian of the metal element, begins on the index finger and runs up and ends at a point next to the nose called welcome fragrance. So, and the little finger, the small intestine runs from the little finger up along and ends near the ear. And the heart meridian is also on the medial aspect of the finger and starts under the armpit and comes to the little finger. So this is the fire element, heart and small intestine, and the large intestine and lung are associated with the metal element. And in doing this, we actually facilitate and improve the functioning of those organs by that simple rotation. Any question about that one?
There is one question. Michael is asking, what is the name of the towel ringing movement?
A towel ringing movement. It is just something that I do. I don't know that it's published anywhere. So that's a fine name for it.
There's a second question from Julie. She's asking, would you be able to provide a reference for the meridians? And I think, Julie, I think you're asking an online reference that is good to use. Is that what you're requesting, Julie? Are you saying, yeah?
That would be great. Yes, thank you.
Okay, good deal.
So you can just Google meridians if you're looking for the meridian system, and there's a boatload of stuff that you will see. And the meridians are pretty much all the same by most standards. And you can see the 12 basic meridians and the 2 extra meridians, the governor vessel that runs along the spine and the conception vessel that runs in the front of the body. And that the circulation of energy is something that is promoted during the Tai Chi as well. We feel a point of light coming from the coccyx up the spine to the top of the head on the inhale, and exhaling it down over the throat, the chest, the lower abdomen, and back to the perineum and base of the spine. So that those are 2 C's of energy, and all the other 12 meridians flow in and out of those 2 extra meridians. So you will see that on any meridian chart. But there are 12 basic meridians. They are bilateral on the body, and they are associated with 12 different organs. Yes, and 2 functions, the triple warmer and the heart protector. These are not, the heart protector is associated with the pericardium, which is the sac that surrounds the heart and protects it. The triple warmer is our thermostat. It keeps our body the correct temperature. The upper, middle, and lower burners where organs are.
Okay, thank you, Lama. Let's see, any other questions before we move on? Okay. Justin is asking a question about these exercises. Are these exercises or practices related to the Tibetan practices of inner heat yoga?
They are not.
Okay.
Not directly to Tumo, no. Tumo is a whole nother study, so we're not doing that one right now.
Okay. Okay, Lama, that seems to be all the questions this session for this go around.
Okay. So, so finding a teacher, like anything else, is important. And there's some, we could spend the rest of the time in doing exercises, but looking at those ones that we did, and doing the microcosmic orbit, what I mentioned to you, the energy up the spine and down the front, imagining a point of light from the base of your spine up to the top of your head on the inhale, and exhaling it down, tongues resting on the roof of the mouth, as it is usually done when we're doing meditation, and just following that energy back to the base of the spine again. The energy follows your thought. So as you think of that energy moving in that way, it can facilitate those 2 C's of energy and the movement of the chi in the 12 meridians. So always good to find a teacher, just like meditation, left to our own devices, often we get confused and make stuff up, and it's not always in our best interest to do that. So find a qualified teacher. You can contract your local places or ask somebody, or now you have a connection that Michael has in the chat. But you can go online, and as I say, there's a lot of free classes being offered online, and but basically, does it conform to the principles we're talking about? Being relaxed, calm, coordination, balance. These are the things that should be highlighted, certainly not fighting. And some martial arts schools are about, winning trophies, and but the principles of Tai Chi are basically, and Qigong for that matter, and yoga is relaxation. This is the primary guiding principle of Tai Chi for sure. When we're practicing Tai Chi, the entire body must be relaxed, particularly the chest, shoulders, elbows. Mental relaxation is even more important than the physical relaxation, because any mental tension creates stiffness and tightness in the body. So beginners are taught to start with a calm but focused mind, which leads to a relaxed body. Everything starts with our mind. Our very precious mind can be a great healer, but it can also make us very upset. So this kind of relaxation stimulates the awareness of qi circulating in the body. So we want to create that mindfulness and sinking and rooting. So we talk about the dantian, which is 4 finger widths below the navel and about 1/3 of the way in the body. It means elixir field, and is the focus of our movement. It's the movement center of the body. and some breathing energy into that, where there's 3 dantians at the forehead, the heart, and the lower dantian. So rooting is a feeling of anchoring and grounding, like the roots of a tree deeply penetrating the earth. And the movements are done slowly, continuously, breathing. Okay, we are approaching the time here that we need to take a break. So Lama, what do you think?
Yes, this is fine. This is a fine time for us to do that. And what we'll do is we'll be taking a 10-minute break. So this means it's about just about 11 o'clock right now. So we will regather at about 10 minutes past the hour. So you can feel free to turn off your video if you like, because everything that is, we're going to pause the recording. And then we will resume the recording after the 10-minute break, and we'll see you at that time. Okay. And see you soon. Okay, well, we're back from our break now. So thanks to everyone. And during the break, someone asked a great question of Lama Losang. So I'm going to beg his pardon and say, hey, Lama, could you answer that question again? The question was, when is it best to do Qigong? Is it best to do Qigong before meditation, after meditation, or ? So that's a question for Lama.
Yeah, so the way we usually think about this is that meditators come in all kinds of different sizes and capacities. So sometimes for those who are sit, they can just get right into their meditation without a problem. Some people, it takes a little while longer before their mind comes to rest, and they can sit comfortably for extended periods of time. So it is a very individual process. For me, it's not unusual to do a round of Tai Chi before I sit, and my mind is calm. I have the added energy and oxygen and movement in the Qi and the blood to enhance the sitting practice. So it's very much like a walking meditation, so I often advise people, to sit and then do some walking meditation and come back and sit again. So it is really for you to see which works best for you. The Qigong, we're saying it's bringing relaxation to body and mind. It's bringing more oxygen. The Qi helps, our homeostasis. It helps to warm the body. It protects the body from invasion. It is transformative to the vital life force, the food, the air that we breathe. That's our primary source of energy, our breathing. We can go for a while without eating and drinking. We can't go long without breathing. And so sometimes breathing exercises are done before the sitting practice to cleanse the breath, to get the oxygen in, and to move the Qi. So it is fine to begin with a little Qigong or Tai Chi, whichever you're familiar with, and do your sitting practice, but see how it works for you.
Okay, thank you, Lama. And then if it's okay, we do have one more question that came in.
Yes.
And I think this is going to be related to something you're going to be talking about really soon after this section. It says, how does this school of medicine relate to Ayurveda and the basic principles of Ayurveda, including nutrition and so on? Thank you.
Yes, so they're very similar. Tibetan medicine is kind of a combination of Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, from the Vedas, the 5 elements. We have the 3 doshas in the Ayurveda. Earth and water are together, and fire and bile. They're very similar, but the way they're treated are a little different. Their diagnostics are a little different, but basically it is very much the same. They come from the same kind of ground.
Okay, thank you, Lama. I think that's all of the questions for this go round. So thanks, everyone.
Okay, we were talking at the break, Lama and I, about some books which we are going to put in the chat. And there's a couple of books related to Tai Chi, the Harvard Medical School Guide to Tai Chi. It's a 12-week course. It says 12 weeks to a healthy body, a strong heart, and sharp mind. We'll put that listing in the chat. There is another Qigong book by Kenneth Cohen. It's called The Way of Qigong. You might want to refer to that one as well. I was just looking through my library before we started this and pulled out a couple of books because I am that way too. I've got a huge library of books, which I resort to from time to time. So those are some things that you can find in the chat. You know, there are other exercises that can be done when you're sitting. For example, just head rolls, just doing some simple head rolls, inhaling the head back, exhaling forward. I always like to link the breath with the movement. So inhaling and exhaling down. And then you can go to the other side, inhaling, exhaling down. Just to stretch out the neck a little bit and side to side, inhaling, exhaling across, inhaling, exhaling across. And called the camel, inhaling or exhaling forward and inhaling head in and up. Actually, let's inhale forward, exhale, inhale, exhale. So you're making like a circle with your chin and working the upper cervical vertebrae. A lot of the meridians come through the neck area. So doing the neck circles, side to side, camel, those kinds of things can help. The other thing for liver, gallbladder is just coming down to the side, keeping your spine straight. And if you're in a seated posture, try to bring your elbow to the floor, keeping your spine straight. Same thing with the other side, just coming down to the side. 3 times to each side is fine. More if you have the time and the energy. If you want to increase this, you can extend the arm over the head and you'll feel the added pull in the oblique muscles. And that stimulates gallbladder, liver. And, you know, a spinal twist also, you can just from side to side, looking back over your shoulder, twisting the spine gently within your capacity. But we want to keep things loose, and then you'll feel more energized. You'll have more energy available. So those are just quick, easy ways to enhance the flow of qi and blood.
Lama, if I may interject a question.
Yes.
Tara is asking about the head exercises, where the inhalation is and where the exhalation is. So if you could repeat that, please.
Yeah, so if we're doing the head circles, inhaling the head up and back, exhaling down. Just inhale up, exhale down. And then go to the other side. Inhale up, exhale down. Okay? And side to side, inhale, exhale. Inhale across, exhale out. So like that. Does that answer the question?
Thank you, Lama. Tara, who asked this question, also had a question regarding the gallbladder. However, when my computer crashed, I lost the question. So Tara, I may have to ask you to please repeat your question in the chat. I apologize.
Yeah, actually, when I asked about the inhale and the exhale, Lama,
Yeah.
I was actually asking about the gallbladder one where we're leaning to the side.
Yes.
Are we exhaling as we go down?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
And then inhale up, exhale down. Yeah. Inhale up, exhale down. Yeah.
Thank you, Lama. And then another question comes in, is there, from Marilyn, is there a good movement to benefit the kidneys?
There is, and that one that we did with the having the arms out and you're kind of wringing the towel out. That is a good one. Or a cat stretch that, you know, you can inhale up and really stretch, you know, when your cat gets up, how they do with their back, and then forward and just round your back out. So the kidneys, and you can just tap on the kidneys as well, you know, just take your fists and tap over that kidney area. So cat stretch, just from a seated posture, inhaling the head up and back, really extending the chest, and then exhaling forward and rounding the back out. And you can just tap on the back over the kidneys. Spinal twist will also kind of work that area a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Lama. I think that is the questions for now. And thank you, Michael. I see the link for the Qigong is in the chat. Thank you.
Great. Okay, well, we wanted to get a little bit along with a diet and nutrition as well, which is a huge topic, a controversial topic. Everyone has their ideas about nutrition, and they are constantly changing. You know, we said it was low fat this and low fat that, and now they're saying fat is good and coconut oil is bad, and now coconut oil is the greatest thing, and eggs were bad, and now eggs are fine. And so it is a little bit curious as to, it can be confusing, to say the least. But we're going to approach this. There is a 5-element phase of foods. And if we ever get to the 5-element elements more, which would be in the acupuncture portion, we'll talk more about that. But the third part of our training is diet and nutrition. So let's see what we can do. The third part, training is about diet and can be sustained and practiced, something that can be sustained and practiced over a long period of time. People are often on doing diets, but it is not something that one does, you know, for a couple of weeks. It is something that needs to be done as a lifestyle. So, you know, as a monk, and you know, the Karmapa has asked that his students try to reduce their meat, certainly, if not becoming a vegetarian. The good news is that we have lots of foods that are available to us. We don't need to rely on animal products. For some people, the meats are more like a medicine and are sometimes needed and prescribed as such for periods of time while you build blood, or the situation, whatever it is, needs to be resolved. But what I'm going to propose are a combination of a ketogenic diet and a vegetarian diet. And I can refer you to a book called Ketotarian. It's and we can put this in the notes. Ketotarian Diet by Dr. Will Cole. It's a mostly plant-based plan, you know, to put our body into the ketosis, which is fat burning. We were born in that state, burning fats, but because of our dependence on grains and carbohydrates, we became carb burners, you know, with the high carbohydrate foods. And it hasn't worked out so well for us, unfortunately. Now we see diabetes rampant, and it is one of the main morbidity factors, comorbidity factors in the problems that people have who contract the COVID. It is, the carbs are highly inflammatory, and everything really starts with inflammation, whether it's cardiovascular, musculoskeletal, and the sugars create the incidences of inflammation. So there are pros and cons to any system that we might follow. But first of all, we'll just say that the keto diet is not new. You know, it's a little bit faddish at this point, but it's been around since the 20s, and it's based on solid science of nutrition and physiology. So I refer you to that text to know a little bit more about the Ketotarian diet. Usually when people hear Ketotarian, they think of ketoacidosis as a person, a diabetic going into a coma. But it is not that. It again is based on changing your metabolism from being primarily a carbohydrate-based energy source to being a fat-based energy source.
Okay, I've put that in the chat for everyone.
Thank you. So we're turning from being a sugar burner, the glucose, to burning fat. And when we switch our energy source and go from being a sugar burner to a fat burner, we are said to be in ketosis because we're burning ketones for fuel. And we were born in this state, as I mentioned, but due to early consumption of grains, breads, other high carbohydrate foods, we quickly converted to burning the sugars found in our primarily carb-based diet. So then low-fat diet took hold, and it was low-fat this and low-fat that, and we need the fats for hormones and for health of our, the micronutrients of the fats are very important. The micronutrients are basically are proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Those, I'm sorry, macronutrients, not micronutrients. The macros are the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And so when we think about the macronutrients in the keto diet, it consists of a particular ratio depending upon somewhat your age, gender, and activity level. But generally speaking, good fats are about 70 to 80% of your total body daily calories, and protein about 15 to 20%, and carbs 5 to 10%, very low carb. And we'll speak more about that and the importance of hydration and the rest. But it is something that one has to get used to, just like meditation, just like exercise, just like all the other things we're talking about. We have habitual patterns that are hard to break. And particularly when it comes to food sources and our likes and dislikes, you know, don't confuse me with the facts. I like my my pastas and breads and those kinds of things. I know a lot of vegans who don't like vegetables, and they basically live on carbohydrates, and they wonder why they are diabetic or certainly are obese by the standard that we use. So again, I would suggest that you look at the Ketotarian diet. It is somewhat restrictive for vegans. That's a very restrictive diet, but not impossible. And good fat sources are coconut, avocados. Avocados, is a fruit, actually. It's not a vegetable, but the coconut, avocados, olives, high-fat nuts, macadamias, walnuts, pecans. So these are all good. The best oils for cooking can be ghee, olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. But as I say, we don't have enough time to go into all of the details of that. And, a lot of people do high protein. And if you're not active in your daily life, those proteins are actually going to turn into carbohydrates. They convert into glucose when they're not used. So it is a relatively medium protein, not excessively high. But for someone like myself, I weigh about 160. For someone weighing 160 pounds, if you divide that by 2.2, you get a weight of 73. That would mean, daily grams of protein for me would be about 73 grams would be fine. But for someone, with an average activity level or more, they may need more proteins. But all that, people ask, what about soy? Soy has many nutritional ingredients. However, a lot of vegetarians have soy everything, whether it's tofu or tempeh or soy milk or the soy artificial meats that are soy based. There's a lot of soy, and soy in excess creates an imbalance. It's estrogenic and can create some secondary problems with the hormones. But I'm going to take a slightly different approach. I've mentioned my point of view about the diet. We want to avoid the sugars, those kinds of things that are glucose, and their body has to, we become glucose intolerant. That's what a diabetic is. And so we don't want to get to that place. It's a very insidious disease, and it is growing. And it's true that our old habits die hard, and we have to have the motivation and intention to change. But if you're in pain, your joints are swollen, you've got arthritis, you are on the various medications, then we have to look at, as they say, what is it that Einstein said, that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is insane. So maybe it's time for a change. So just remember the ratio: 70% fats, 20% protein, 10% carbs, and look at labels. There are ketone strips that you can get, and you just can put it. You can pee on it, and it'll show you your ketone levels. At least at first. Sometimes blood levels are important to see your ketone levels, but basically, we could say steps to eating and happiness are to eliminate sugar and the high carb drinks such as fruit juices, sports drinks, sodas, anything with high fructose corn syrup, honey, agave, artificial sweeteners. Eliminate gluten for the most part. A lot of people cannot tolerate gluten. They have gluten sensitivities, allergies. And look at labels, check carb content. You may be surprised at that little bar that you, energy bar. I may have 30 to 40 grams of carbs a day. One bar can be 30 grams of carbs. So avoid the hydrogenated oils, the vegetable oils such as corn oil, soy oil, canola oil, vegetable, safflower, peanut, anything that says hydrogenated, and synthetic additives, colorings, flavorings, aspartame, MSG, dyes, artificial coloring, preservatives. Anything you can't pronounce, you probably don't want to put in your body. It's pretty simple. I do eat eggs, and you know, with all the things we're talking about, make sure you get pastured eggs, you know, free-range chickens that forage outside, that are certified organic, without synthetic pesticides, and certified humane raised, handled without antibiotics and without added hormones. Try to reduce your meat eating. You know, that it is true that, you know, wild caught seafood, Alaskan salmon, sardines, mackerel, are high oils. We need the omega-3s, the omega oils in general. And, you know, certain medicines that we have leach certain nutrients from our body. So a lot of people take statins, and if you take a statin, you really need to take CoQ10 because it leaches the CoQ10 out of your body. Whenever you can, use organic foods. It's worth it. Now we don't even know what's GMO or not, or genetically modified. In this country, it doesn't need to be labeled. The rest of the world, they label them because people don't want to eat things that are just concocted from plants that have animal genes in them, and a variety of things. So eat what's in season is always a good way to do it, and what's grown around you. Know your, if you can go to farmers markets and know your farmers, that's great. And as we were saying, eat organically, particularly, you know, fruits. You really can't wash some of those pesticides off. Strawberries are one of the highly sprayed crops. They must be organic. They're low to the ground. They get fungus easily and are exposed to all kinds of different things. So there's a lot of insecticides, pesticides, fungicides that are used on those things. So always organic fruits and vegetables that are locally grown and in season.
Lama, there's a couple of questions that have come up. Do you have a moment?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Let's see. Julie wanted to share that she recently heard that taking a cool or cold shower can reduce inflammation throughout the body. And she wanted to share that.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly,
it's good to finish your shower with cold. So the heat is good for the external, you know, it's for the skin, but cold brings the blood deep into the organs. So your body thinks it's going to freeze, and it's going to protect the organs. So finishing your shower with cold is helpful. There's a lot about cold baths that you'll read, but there's lots of literature about that now. So yes, it is beneficial for those who have the courage to do it.
Yes, indeed. So the next question is coming from Helder. This regards the percentages for the diet. I know he said, could you please repeat the ideal diet percentage? And then he has a second question. Also, are there any recommendations of a diet for people who are recovering from COVID?
Well, definitely the same things we're talking about. Whether you're recovering from COVID or you want to prevent yourself from getting COVID, the sugars, really, you want to have a low carb diet. Bacteria, virus thrive, fungus too, for that matter, thrive in that environment with the sugars. So we have to keep our gut healthy. The biome of our gut needs to be healthy. So eating fermented foods, we have to have the friendly bacteria in our gut, and there's a whole host of bacteria, friendly bacteria that we need that help to digest, but that also work on ridding the body of toxins as well. So things like kefir or kimchi, sauerkraut, yogurts that aren't filled with all kinds of jellies and are just like, you know, ice cream. Look at labels, but the percentages, 70% oils, 20% protein, 10% carbs. 70, 20, 10.
Okay, thank you. And then someone is asking about using the natural sweetener stevia, if you have a comment on that.
Yeah, stevia is fine.
Okay. Okay, I think that's all the questions this go around. So thanks, Lama.
Okay, good. I had a thing on sweeteners here that I'm trying to find. Yeah, so we were talking about fermented foods. The fermented soybeans are fine. I said, watch out for too much soy, but if they are fermented, it is a different story. So the tempeh is fine, natto is fine, miso is fine. But to promote, you probably heard about leaky gut. That is a problem that we have because of our digestive systems have been ruined often by drugs, antibiotics in particular, reduce the friendly flora of our gut. They kill everything. And this is a friendly bacteria that is necessary, that we have all through our body actually. And when we take an antibiotic, it kills all of that flora, and then it has to be replaced. And it takes a little while to get the right climate in our microbiome established. So the use of these fermented foods are important, and they are all listed in the ketogenic diet as well to enhance gut flora and repair leaky gut. Leaky gut, we have an intestinal wall that allows, it's permeable or semi-permeable, and it allows the nutrition to go into the bloodstream and nourish our body. But sometimes these connections become damaged, and the wrong things go into the bloodstream, and that sets up a allergic or inflammatory reaction. And so the body is trying to constantly fight this inflammatory condition, and that's what we mean by leaky gut. So having the right environment requires these friendly bacteria that's been destroyed by certain drugs, and certainly antibiotics, which directly kill all life in our body, need to be replaced. So those things like pickles and kimchi and ginger and pickled things, sauerkraut, kefir, those are all helpful. And I usually recommend eating real food as opposed, you can take a probiotic pill, that has so many thousands of lactobacillus or various friendly bacteria, but these are live cultures. These are things that need to be strong. So real foods give you that. We don't know how long that capsule has been in that jar on that shelf. So eat real food. That's always the best bet.
Mm-hmm. We're starting to get a lot of particular questions on particular items, Lama. Do you have time for questions, or do you need to cover some more material this morning? Because I see we're coming up on the last 15 minutes of our time together, and I wanted to both help the people who have questions and then also help you out because you're given the program.
Yes, well, the only thing that I want to mention is that we could go through all kinds of different diets, and some are going to appeal to some and some are going to appeal to others. But basically, we have to look at hunger in general and mindful eating. And this is just an extension of our mindfulness when it comes to foods. We We spoke of mindfulness when we discussed the first golden petal of Asian medicine, meditation. But we need to look at mindfulness while eating. As we learned, it's a skill anyone can develop, but there are certain aspects to hunger. We have an eye hunger. Have you ever had the experience of you've just finished a nice meal with friends and you're thinking to yourself, "Boy, I'm really stuffed," and then the waitress comes and asks if she may show you the dessert tray, and then you say, "No, I'm really full." And then everyone says, "Well, let's it can't hurt to look." And so she appears with the dessert tray and all of the lemon tart and the chocolate mousse and the slice of apple pie and the cheesecake with raspberry. The sauce appears and your eyes overwhelm your stomach. And although the stomach is saying, "Please, no more," the eyes say, "Yeah, we can do that." So, advertisers are very keen on this. They know that the presentation of the food and the rest of it. We have to look at the variety of hungers that we have. Eye hunger is one of them. So when we see this, we have to really check in with our body. Do we really need this? Is this something we want? Or are we being led by this other sense that is actually betraying our real hunger?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to just go into a couple of more. Nose hunger is another one. So we have eyes, we have nose, and the smell of food is very important. Now in COVID, people lose their sense of smell and they lose their sense of taste. But it is really the sense of smell that affects our sense of taste. If we can't smell, we know when we have a cold, food just loses its taste. And if there's any realtors here, you know that the smell of baked bread or something like that is known to be a facilitator for selling a house. Just like they say, nothing says leaven like something from the oven. And it is a matter of really identifying what's speaking to us. Are we really hungry, or are we just being creating this hunger? And so we're being mindful once again of our sight, of our nose. We all want to be, we have a real stomach hunger. I mean, they're a gnawing kind of hunger that we've all experienced. We have these stomach hunger pangs, and we feel the stomach growling and says we need to eat. So we pay attention to that, and rightfully so, or we would starve, and that would not be useful to us. But we have to be aware of what is stomach hunger, what is nose hunger, what is eye hunger. And we have cellular needs too, like I mentioned. Sometimes we are low in certain minerals, and the body in its wisdom is going to say we should have a little something like cramping or something, and we're attracted to a banana, which is high in potassium, or magnesium, which is being leached out by certain foods or medicines that we use. So we're going to come back to mindfulness, and not the least of which is mind hunger. So we are getting so much information all the time. We should eat this, we shouldn't eat that, and it affects our ability to really enjoy our food. We're becoming so anxious about what we're eating. We are probably the world's most anxious eaters. Another author that I like is Michael Pollan. He's written a lot about the foods and our society and the rest, Michael Pollan. So to be so obsessed with what we should eat and shouldn't eat really affects our enjoyment of our food. So having said that about the Ketotarian diet, and which is what I subscribe to and how I eat, it's also okay to enjoy your food and not to obsess over, oh, do I need this or do I need that? But listen to your body. And heart hunger is another thing. We eat for a lot of different reasons. we attempt to fill a hole, not in our stomach, but in our heart. We eat when we get lonely. We eat when our relationships are not right, or when someone dies, when we're grieving. It's no mystery, that we have comfort foods. Maybe our mother gave us, or our grandmother, and we remember those foods and they give us a good feeling. So again, part of our awareness, part of our mindfulness is to look at these different hungers that we're going to be experiencing, and to sort that out in a way that's going to allow us to really make good decisions for ourselves in what we eat, and consequently how we feel. So, we talk about habitual patterns, and our mind creates these habitual actions unconsciously. We don't even think about them. It's just a knee-jerk response. But we want to bring this to our awareness and bring balance to this aspect of our life, this food and nutrition. Okay, yes, let's see if we can take a question or two before we break.
Okay, thank you, Lama. I had one question of my own. I'd like to start with a review of what the 8 petals are, because I think some of our folks may be joining us for the first time today and would want to know the overview of the course of instruction that you're giving.
Yeah.
You said the first of the 8 petals was meditation, and then so on,
Yes, that is correct. So, yeah, let me just make sure I pull it up for everybody. So yes, we start with meditation, self-cultivation. Then Qigong, which we covered in some detail, Tai Chi, yoga, those exercises to enhance overall vitality, Qi. In yoga, pranayama, breathing exercises, all those things are in this domain of Qi cultivation. Diet and nutrition, which we are finishing up. Massage, tuina, shiatsu. These are all different aspects of massage, or how we can affect the body's energy through touch. I Ching and Mo. Mo is a divination, or a way of contacting being present with the energies that are all around us. I Ching, based on 64 hexagrams, and the Bagua, which is also part of Chinese medicine, and Feng Shui. We're going to be talking more about that Bagua. Feng Shui, and as the 6th is Feng Shui, the 7th is herbal medicine, and the 8th is acupuncture. Acupuncture, within acupuncture is cupping, moxibustion, which is the burning of mugwort, or like a little cone. You can bring heat either directly on the skin, or sometimes it's placed on the handle of a needle and brought deeply into a joint, for example, for frozen shoulder. There's a variety of ways we use heat. It's called moxibustion, and acupuncture, and scraping and cupping, and the various ways to enhance the qi and blood.
Okay, thank you very much, Lama. There's a comment here about whether you will be addressing all of these topics as we go through these workshops.
That's up to you.
Okay, well, I have a feeling that there's probably, I think there are going to be several people who have an interest. So I think we're going to be definitely putting more on the schedule. Someone has just asked for a recap. The 7th petal that I wrote down was herbal medicine.
7th is herbal medicine, that's right.
Okay, very good. So now we have a few additional questions. Oh, and by the way, Michael made a comment about your description of the dessert tray. He said that he started getting audio hunger from listening to your description of the dessert tray. So
right.
I think that means
he got the visual too.
I think that means thanks for that, or maybe not. Anyway, so,
Yes.
okay. Now back to questions. So here we go. Someone is asking for input on the topic of taking tea and coffee and caffeine in general.
Yeah, you know, we used to say that, you know, you have hydration is very important. You know, we have to stay hydrated. And there was the thought that taking those things were dehydrating. You know, they would exhaust fluids, they're diuretic. But the latest data suggests that you are still hydrating when you have those. Some people, although, are sensitive to caffeine. Their hearts will, you know, they'll have tachycardia, they'll have, you know, irritability, tensions, problems. So it depends upon your sensitivity. Some people are just allergic to the caffeine, it seems. So it is, again, a matter of choice. I do drink coffee myself. But it does leach magnesium out of your system. And if you do have any cramping in your legs, night cramping or hands cramp, that's usually because of a magnesium deficiency. And if you drink a lot of coffee, which I'm not suggesting you do that, maybe a cup or two a day is fine, 200 milligrams or so of caffeine. That is fine. But if it is in excess, or there's other things that you're doing that you find yourself having cramps, muscle cramps, then your electrolytes are out of balance. And generally taking the magnesium, sometimes it's potassium, but generally it's magnesium, will help that out.
Okay, thank you, Lama. An additional question about the intake of specific nutrients. Julie is asking, might you be able to give a guideline for a safe amount of daily soy intake? It's a good question.
Yeah, if you have, you know, tofu, you know, but some people eat a boatload of tofu. So a small square of tofu, a tempeh is saying tempeh, you can extend out a little bit, you can have a little bit more, but think of it as you would, you know, a piece of meat, a steak, or something like that. You use it in that way.
Mm-hmm. Therefore, an amount that would look like a serving of protein.
Yeah, 6 to 8 ounces.
6 to 8 ounces. Okay, very good.
And, you know, so often in addition to that, people drink soy milk. They have other kinds of soy products. I would just, again, women in particular may be sensitive to that if their hormones are out of balance. But we're seeing problems because the beef, the chickens are shot up with hormones. They eat soy food, and boys are getting breast tissue, and it's creating it's estrogenic. So it creates problems with estrogen. So that means for women, breast cancer and a variety of other kinds of secondary problems that can arise when the hormones are out of balance in that way.
Yeah, okay, very good. Additionally, the next question is, talking about exercise. Are there any exercises that will improve eyesight?
There are. Just doing, you know, your muscles of your eye also need to be worked in a certain, so doing eye circles, you know, just left, up, side, down, doing that and looking at a distance. So we're working with the pupil as well. So when you look at a distance or exposed to light, get natural light as well. And usually we are so focused in a short, you know, we're looking at our computers all the time. To be able to look a distance and to help your eyes focus at a distance, to work those muscles of the eye. There are various exercises that you can find online as well, and different strategies for that.
Okay, then another question. This one is coming from Helder, who is asking, the point of view question is, is your presentation coming from the point of view of Chinese medicine, asking as opposed to Tibetan medicine?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. And then how are these teachings related to our lineage teachings in Buddhism?
Only in the way that I mentioned that our teachers, such as when we talked about the martial arts coming from India and the teachings of the Buddha to China, just like the teachings that came from Guru Rinpoche. Many of these teachings did come from the Buddha, but have mutated in a variety of ways. Just like Tibetan medicine is a bit of a mutation itself, but my feeling is that it all has come from the medicine Buddha. All these different aspects are aspects of medicine from the medicine Buddha.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lama. We are at the top of the hour, so I'd like to ask Lama, would you like to take one more question?
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, let's see here. Let's see. Michael, would you like to unmute and explain that you're giving an eye focus exercise? Yeah, okay. I'll go ahead and do it. I see that. I see that uncertainty. Okay, I'm with you here. The eye focus exercise, focus on fingertip close to the,
Uh-oh, we're losing you.
then as far away. Get that right?
Yeah, Kathy, you were breaking up, but simply it's a simple focus exercise to focus closely on your fingertip and really focus on it, and then focus on something far away. Bring your focus back to your fingertip and focus on it, and then focus on something far away, and it helps with the focus muscles.
That's right, that would work. That's what I was suggesting, but with the finger, you've got that going too.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So this brings us to the top of the hour, and we have some thank yous showing up in the chat from Helder, Evelyn, and Julie, and Justin, and so on. And so I'd like to thank you, Lama Losang, for joining us this morning and giving us this this teaching on how we can use exercise and nutrition for health. And I think I'm speaking on the behalf of many people when I say that we appreciate your presence with us and invite you to return, because there are several petals left to discuss. So we have to finish this. We have to make sure that we do this. It's a good thing for positivity and karma.
Yes, we could go through, I mean, just on these two topics alone, we could spend weeks, but you know, we're boiling it down into just a little kernel. But so, you know, I'm going to leave it to you to look at these other texts that we've talked about. For nutrition, there's also another one, healing with whole foods. I want to mention that one as well. Healing with whole foods. This is by Paul Pitchford. Paul Pitchford. Healing with Whole Foods, Asian Traditions and Modern Nutrition. It's a really nice book as well.
Okay. Great. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll put the note to that in chat. Here it comes.
And the other one for Tai Chi, we have those in there, the Harvard Medical School Guide to Tai Chi. There's also how-tos in there and exercises to do, and also a lot of data to support it and how it's used clinically.
Oh, this is great. Well, Lama, would you like to offer a dedication for us today?
Yes, absolutely. We want to dedicate the merit of our coming together and our practice and study for the benefit of all beings, but particularly now for the peoples and nations of this earth, May not even the names disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. Rather, may pure conduct, merit, wealth, and prosperity increase, and may supreme good fortune and well-being arise in the minds of all beings. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Lama.
Until we meet again.